Thank you very much. Program Director, Minister Batabile Dlamini, ministers who are here, the Premier of the Gauteng Province, Deputy Ministers, MECs, the Executive Mayor of Tshwane, MMCs and councillors, leadership of the Eersterust Local Drug Action Committee, religious leaders who are with us here, and I also saw traditional leaders coming in, community leaders present here, the community of Eersterust and the surrounding areas at large. I'm happy to be back in this community once again. I was here in April this year visiting the Ludwig Spice Senior Citizens Home. I had a long time to discuss with the senior citizens and ask them to do some homework. And some of them have done some homework. Because I felt that old people are sitting there. They've got an experience that they are not telling, how they grew up, what they have come across, the times of happiness, the times of difficulties. So I invited them to write their stories because they've got time now. What happened as they were growing up, so that young people can get to know what happened. Fortunately, some have written the stories. And I promise that those who write, maybe I will do a competition, see the best stories. And I said to them, they must not be shy. There's not a single person who doesn't have a story to tell. Maybe you were disappointed by a girlfriend, in your young days, or you were disappointed by a boyfriend. What happened? How did you feel? Many things. So the stories have started coming. So I'm very happy, because I will put those in a booklet so that they become the stories for the young people. Because young people must know what has happened to those who are old, who have seen it all. What is it that made you feel so angry at one time, or feel very sad? We grew up during the apartheid times. Did you encounter the police asking you, where is your pass? Huh? Were you affected by curfew? Because there were certain hours the black people are not wanted in the city. Those kind of stories. Of course, I made an undertaking that I would return to attend to the problem facing the community. Because on that day, I just came to the old age home only. And when I came out, the community were nearby, and I promised that I will come. To be with you, to talk about the problems that face the community, particularly the drugs and substance abuse, which I'd heard are a problem affecting in the main the youth development in general and the community. In particular, because if young people take drugs, that development is not complete. And some of them don't even enjoy the life that I'm talking about with the old people. You can imagine if you were taking drugs and you were a young person, when I find you in an old age home, I say, tell the story. What is your experience as you grew up? What can you say? I was taking drugs. Is that a story to tell? No, absolutely. I had earlier received a letter and a petition from this community of Eersterust. The petition outlined a number of issues the community was unhappy about. They included the following: the widespread abuse of drugs and other illegal substances in the community. The petition I received estimates that over 15,000 people in the community abuse drugs. That is a serious matter. That number is too big. Normally, when people say people are abusing drugs, they are generally a minority. This was shocking to me. Behind this large group of drug abusers is a growing number of drug lords who sell drugs to the young and old without being arrested. And I'm not sure whether the drug laws or whatever, they know that in fact by so doing, they are destroying the society. I don't know why a person should think that drugs can be a business. Something is wrong. The community also informed me that as a result of widespread drug abuse, other social ills have emerged, such as housebreaking and other criminal activities. Other issues raised were the shortage of housing, and the high rate of unemployment. The community also called on government to establish multipurpose community center in the community for the provision of services, and also to establish substance abuse treatment programs for those who have fallen to the scourge of substance abuse. I'm back today, as promised, and have brought all three spheres of government with me: ministers from the national level of government and deputy ministers, the Premier, and MECs from the provincial level of government, the executive mayor of Tshwane, and councillors, and MECs, and senior officials of all three levels of government. Very important to do so, because I wanted government, that you have made a call that must help, to be here, to hear you. As people say, to hear it from the horse's mouth. I'm very careful. I must explain this, because people one time fought about this word in a rugby board. One man who had told somebody something was giving information, and he says, I heard it from the horse's mouth. And the man who's sitting nearby, he knows it's him who told him this. And he went for him. Says, am I a horse? Huh? Am I a horse? So I must be very careful. I wanted them to come and hear it from the horse's mouth. Not that I'm saying their horse is here. It only means to hear it directly, without through the messenger. Yes. Today, I wanted to hear directly from you as the community as to what your concerns are. And don't lose the opportunity, because the government is here. The big one, the big government, the government who is in the middle, just speaks a little bit, small little bit, and the small one. They're all here. I love to explain this, because as a young man, very young, when after 1998 elections, when the National Party took over government, they introduced very repressive laws. And there was a song that was sung in Zulu that the laws of Malan are ill-treating us. Mthetho kaMalan is patency, masazi la sofela khona. We don't know where we will die. And I thought, who is this Malan? So I asked my grandmother, who never said she did not know anything. Whatever I asked, she gave me an answer. Very clever answer, and I believed it. So I said to her, who is this Malang? She says, hey, it's government. I did not know what is government. I said, who is government? He says, he's a very huge man who stays in Pretoria. Very big. So that was my description of what government is. He's a huge man, bigger than anybody else. But you're a very clever old lady. And I think all old ladies are very clever. When a grandchild asks a question, they don't say, I don't know. They give the answer. And I heard people at that time talking about science and scientists. So I did not know what is this. I asked my grandmother, what is a scientist? She says, hey, those are very serious people. Very clever people. They've got big heads like this. Up to this day, I haven't seen a scientist with a big head. And I believed it. So when I went to town, I was looking for big heads. I never saw a single one. Because she couldn't say, I don't know Mtanam. She must know. So the purpose of the Imbizo today, our coming together here, this gathering, is for us to communicate directly with the public without intermediaries and to solve problems together. So, at a given time, we would want to give you the time. And I take it, Director of the program, that there must be some people who have been identified who will be able to present the problems and challenges of the community, who will represent the community. Because if we said everyone must talk, as you can see how many we are, we could budget for a month. Because there are many problems. I'm just hoping that those who have been identified will be able to articulate the problems. But in the main, the problem is about drugs. Drug abuse, what can be done? How could we work together to stop this killer? And then, of course, other issues, as I indicated, which were in the petition that was written to me, relates to things that are in the hands of different departments. So some departments later will stand up to respond to those issues. From all of them, from national, provincial, as well as local government. I always say, this government is your government. So we bring the government to you so that you don't send messengers, so that you can talk direct. Let me explain one small issue too. I was in Imbizo like this gathering, and somebody had things to say. But that somebody was there, but felt, I'm not going to say she or he, so that you don't work out. That somebody felt was lost. Because this somebody had seen me campaigning for elections, and I was campaigning for the ANC. And this somebody was not ANC. And this somebody had not voted for the ANC. So decided I don't belong here, kept quiet. And I got to know. So I asked somebody, well, somebody said, well, there's somebody here has things to say, but afraid. So I said, why are you not talking? He says, no. I did not want to disturb the ANC meeting. I said, who said this is an ANC meeting? This is a meeting of the community. Why do you think this is an ANC meeting? No, I saw you campaigning for the ANC. I said, yes, I was campaigning to become a state president. If you're a state president, you're a president of every citizen. The ANC itself, once it wins elections, it set up government, and that government is government of the people. So don't be afraid. It's your government. We govern everything. Even the DA, which is an opposition in parliament, we are governing them as well. Because we are a government. It's the truth. It's just the truth. That's why, if I come here, I can't wear ANC things. I can do that in the ANC meeting. Here, I'm government. So don't be afraid. It's up to you whether you love the government or you don't. But whether you love it or you don't, is the government for 5 years. And you can't say, for an example, because this is not my government, I'm not going to receive the pension until my government comes. I was very serious. So services are for all citizens. That's very important. So nobody must fear. Because you don't also have to say, my political thinking or idea or party is this. We don't want that here. We want community. Finish and clear. So I'll give over to the director of the program so that we get an opportunity to hear the community on the issues that worry the community a great deal. She knows how this will be done. They have stopped me from doing it. Or they say I take a long time because I want everybody to speak. At times it becomes chaos if all people raise hands at the same time. And we have few hours, we don't have the whole month. So they are very clever. So they've got a system that will cover everyone. If you are not among those who have been identified, you can only raise a hand because you think there is a very, very important point that has not been covered. But you can't stand up and say, no, I want to support the ones who have spoken and repeat what they've said. No. Ons hoor mos, né? You want me to tell a story? I don't know Afrikaans. I know just a bit of it. And part of it is jail Afrikaans. You know, rough lapper. And I'm saying this because I was here in Pretoria, 1963, arrested for political activities. I learned first words of Afrikaans. And I was asked a question. And those days, our names, like us, were Kaffers. And the warders came and said, Kaffer, where is your car key? And I said, why should I have a car key? Now I'm thinking to myself, you know. And they asked me, they were very serious. On Fra, waar is your kaartjie? And I did not understand. So I said, well, I don't understand. They beat me up. Englishman. Ngizwa nje lokho kuphela nje. Hey, kunzima la babuya la bakafir, waar is your kaartjie? And I said, hey, angisazi isibhunu in Zulu. Bangishaya. Yeah. When they were coming back for the fourth time, I realized this is very serious. They are not leaving me alone at all. So I was thinking, I remember that there's a ticket that was given to me at the reception, which is written why we are here, blah, blah. I took it out literally guessing because I was in trouble. Once I took it out, they said, Moy, Kafa, Moy. So I learned without a teacher what is a card, and that the word moy was a word of appreciation. No teacher told me that. And they said, so. I straight, you know. Nobody taught me that. I won't so. And you don't know. There was a prisoner outside carrying a bundle of blankets. Only then they thought, now somebody should come and interpret. So they tell this man, tell this person, this is a cell, it's clean, blah, blah, blah. And this man, I did not know a word of Sotho. And this man starts saying, that day, home for it. I've been beaten enough. Speak Zulu. Hey, this chap was scratching his head. He did not know Zulu either. His Zulu was walking on his stomach. So, I'm just telling you that my Afrikaans I learned very hard. Very hard. But that was even better. Let me tell you the last one. I used to think that everybody from Cape Town knows Afrikaans. And here were these guys coming from Cape Town. We're detained together. And in prison, we're not allowed. We're in New Lock prison. We're not allowed to make noise. Now, we are making noise. We always steal, you know, make noise. Because in prison, what do you do? Just sit. We're under 90 days detention. So we make noise. We've got one man among us who knew Afrikaans. All of us did not know. So because we can hear them when they close the gates, you know, the keys are making noise, etc. At the end, they wanted to catch us. Who? Because we are staying in different cells. Which cell make noise? So they pretended they were closing the hacks. You know, there is a hack, the gate, hack. And they were not closing them. And we started making noise, wow, 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 wow. And they just pulled them aside, came closer, and they found our door. So this man opened very slowly so that we don't hear. By the time we saw the doors just opening, and he asked a question in Afrikaans. Wie mag raciso? Huh? Wie mag raciso? Now, among us, this fellow from Cape Town, his name was Russell. So he said, yes, sir, I'm Russell, sir. And he asked again, Ek vra wie mag raciso? Says, my name is Russell, sir. Yes, sir. And he realized there's a problem in communication. So only one man, Umbata, who knew Afrikaans. So he turns back, he says, Umbata, little pool. And Umbata just kept quiet and looked up, because we are going to be punished. And the water was so disarmed. He just closed it. Closed the door and left. This man who understood Afrikaans, he fell down with laughter. He nearly died. Absolutely. We say, Mbata, what's happening? He says, no. The water is asking, who's making noise? You are saying, I'm noise. Yeah? So just watch. If I come back to the old ones, I'll tell you these are my stories when I'm an old man. What happened to me, ne? Thank you very much. Over to you.